Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. My opponent has started with a bingo, and I have the blank on my rack. But can I reply with a bingo of my own? I have the G and the N, but if I wish to consider an ing ending, I would need to use the blank as an I, and the remaining letters are L-O-U-Y. I don't have a 7 ending ing, so I need to consider, well, I've just seen ungodly as a 7. That doesn't go. Portend doesn't take anything at the beginning or the end. Gosh, I have a profusion of possibilities to consider here, as well as the different possibilities for the blank. I have the ing ending and I have the ly ending. And the word young keeps jumping out at me. So, what's the best way of identifying a bingo? I think I'm going to look at the letters in portend first and see if anything jumps out at me. Nothing through the P. Can't see anything through the O. The R looks promising. Can't see it. Outlying, is outlying good? I think it is. Phew, I have one. Okay, well it's good to have a bingo. Now let's see. Let me see if I can find a better one. The E is always a good letter as a floater, especially when you don't have one on your own rack. Well, I can't see anything or any other bingos other than outlying. And the important floaters to consider were the P and the O, because they're the floaters which could reach double word squares, and I couldn't see anything with the P and the O, so I'm not going to look further. I draw the Q. Fortunately, I have the I to go with it to make chi. I can play that just to the right of portend, making chi and pi. And I've also got it underneath the O of outlying. So I am going to be able to play my Q. A better play would be caddy through the D of portend, putting the Q on the triple letter square. None of these possibilities addresses the duplicate O that I have on my rack, or the preponderance of vowels, but my priority is getting rid of the Q. I can't see any move which outscores caddy or even comes close. And I draw the X. And the preponderance of vowels is actually quite good when you have the X, because it provides flexibility in terms of playing it. Oxo is good. I could play that underneath the G of outlying to reach the triple word square at H15. Xes is also good. So I could pluralise throat to make throats. I'm wondering about oxies, O-X-I-E-S. I'm not 100% sure of that. I do now have another option for OXO. I could play it underneath the Z of Fez for 31 points. Whereas here I get 33 points, and I think I prefer this position. It takes out the triple word score, it scores slightly more, and my opponent will score less by playing parallel to OXO and underneath it than if OXO had been placed underneath Fez. And EEIS isn't a bad leave, really. I'm just quickly pausing to see if I've missed anything that I haven't considered, which I should, and I can't see anything. My vowel preponderance continues, which is not surprising, since this is the reason it's bad to have a preponderance of vowels, is that unless you address it, it tends to persist into subsequent racks. Having said that, the letters on my rack are quite bingo friendly. There's a shortage of floaters on the board. I really need a consonant to go with this to get into bingo territory. I should be able to sort this rack out though. A play of IDE would leave EISS, and that certainly has addressed the vowel preponderance problem. But DEIS is probably a better leave than SEIS. So let's see how much dies scores. Well, dies scores 30. That leaves me with a rack leave of EIS. And DEIS would be better. If I played SEI underneath the Q of Caddy, that would only be 17 points. It's not worth sacrificing 13 points just to have the rack leave of EIS augmented by a D. EIS is not a bad leave. And this looks good. I have ski wear. But do I have anywhere to play it? I don't think I do. Maybe my opponent will provide an opening. I need to consider the D of dies as a floater. But I can't see anything through that. I've also got the O of OXO to consider. But I can't see anything there. So if I can't play ski wear, what should I be doing? Well, certainly playing off the W, the K, or both of them. I think the W is the more important tile to play off. It features in fewer bingos, I believe. But there aren't many hot spots to offload either the W or the K. AWK is good, and that would leave a rack leave of EIRS, which is Quite nice. And I could play that over the G of outlying, placing the W on the triple letter square at F14. Only 22 points, but the rack leave is really good, especially with the floating D of dies. And I note also that the M of matey contributes to the two-letter word EM, which takes an S after it, so I do have a bingo lane for 7-letter bingos ending in S. I'm just wondering if I have any 8-letter words, if my opponent provides floaters. Well, skiware's nice, but I'm not sure it does actually go to make many or any 8-letter words. I'm a bit hesitant about pluralising skiware. I'm not sure if you can. Most words ending W-E-A-R can be pluralised, but there's a handful of exceptions, and I think skiware may be one of them. There are 50 tiles left in the bag, plus 7 on my opponent's rack. And I've got just under 13 minutes, so I'm not in time trouble at all. My opponent has scored only 14 points, which is good for us. Unfortunately, he's taken out the spot where I was considering playing AWK. So I'm going to need to look elsewhere. I could play KI and Chi for 23 points. It does retain the W, but then I do have the letters for where suffixes and also the ward suffix through the D of dies. And I'm providing another bingo lane for my S, in that KI takes an S as a front hook. Can I do anything better than that? This doesn't feel optimal. But I can't see anything better. And I draw the G. I can't see anything through the D. And I can't see anything through the O. So I don't think I have a bingo. My opponent has scored 30 points and taken out 2 bingo lanes. The word law scores 24. If I pluralised it, I'd get 39. Now that's a big score. The rack leave of EGR isn't great, but it is balanced in terms of vowels and consonants. And the E and the R are good tiles. Score-wise, I'm 21 points behind, so I do want to keep scoring to stay in touch. Yeah, I think 39 points is pretty good. And I draw the second blank. I have breenged through the D of dies. Do I have anything either through the O of OXO or in column 2 hooking onto laws? I probably do, but I can't see anything immediately. And it would be nice to have a better bingo through the D of dies, one which reaches the double word square at B14. Well, in terms of the O of OXO, I am going to mentally run through the alphabet. I'm up to J. I've seen nothing yet. Be longer might be good, but I'm not sure. It's always difficult to be certain with regards to agent nouns. My opponent plays J for 27, so he's keeping the scoring going. Well, unless I can get a bingo beginning or ending with the O of OXO, I'm not sure there's a great deal of difference between playing Breenged and playing a bingo which simply goes through the O of OXO. So I don't want to waste too much time looking for an OXO bingo. So how about the front hook for laws? The front hooks are B. Okay, I've got a B, but it rarely features at the end towards the ends of words. C, nothing there. F, nothing there. And S. Well, if I had a bingo ending in S, and I think Bergen's may be good, it wouldn't hit the double word square. I do have Rebegin as a 7, but there's nowhere to play it. So I think Breenged is the only bingo that I'm sure of. That's 65 points. And I draw a whole load of vowels. I'm 56 points ahead. My opponent has first shot at the triple word squares at A1 and A8. And he takes the more easily accessible of the two. Now I need to resolve this vowel problem on my rack. I am still ahead, but only by 27 points. The triple word square at A8 isn't a particularly hot spot, in that if I left it, I don't think my opponent would score a huge amount using it. But it probably provides the best opportunity for me to play off my vowels. Now, AIA for 19 is pretty good. The downside is the 3 E's. It's rarely optimal to keep 3 of any letter, but I think we've got special circumstances here in that I'm starting with 6 vowels, so playing off 3 of them is quite good. Looking down at the remaining tiles in the bag, there are only 2 E's left. So, in the circumstances, I think that the retention of 3 E's is probably okay. I'm just looking around the board to see if there's anywhere else that I can offload a whole load of vowels, but I can't see anywhere. Great, I haven't drawn another E. 4 E's would have been a bit of a pain. I'm 40 points ahead. The board is quite tight. There aren't many bingo lanes which my opponent can use. So if my opponent doesn't bingo and I can keep scoring, I'm in the driving seat in terms of winning the game. And I've got the W, which at this stage of the game is a good letter to have, because it means that I ought to be able to score well. My opponent maintains his scoring ways with 33 points. So what can I do with my W? There aren't any hot spots that are leaping out at me. I've got nothing that can front hook laws. WOE would be, just looking at the rack, would be a good move to play, because ENOT would be a good leave, but I can't see a great place to play WOE. It wouldn't be good to play it underneath Goa to make yaw and woe, because it would provide a bingo lane for my opponent in row O, and it would also provide him access to the triple word square at O15. So I need to do better than that. Well, this has literally just popped into my head. Goodness knows if it's the best play. But what it does have going for it, 32 points, plus it's expediting the end of the game by playing 6 tiles. It's only providing 2 floaters to my opponent, the T and the O, but the O is already available as a floater in the O of Oxo. And I draw a lot of vowels, but I also draw the V, and it's the same as the W. Early on in the game, the V isn't good, but when you're reaching towards the end of the game, it is good to have tiles which score more than 1 point, because it is possible to score well using them. My opponent gets 46 points for pinch, which is a big score. He's right back in it now. He's got a lead of 1 point. There are 4 tiles in the bag. There's 7 on my opponent's rack. I need to keep scoring, but there are limited opportunities for doing so. Now with 4 tiles in the bag, I'm looking to play off 3 of my tiles. I could play Rive through the R of Lona. Only scores 21 points, and it provides a floating E for my opponent. Now my opponent doesn't have an E on his rack, and there are no E's in the bag. So an E may be just the tile he needs to bingo. So I'd like to do better than that. But I do want to score. I might have to take the chance with Rive. Because if I score a small amount, say 10 points or so, my opponent could win without playing a bingo. But surely there's something better. I can't see anything better. And I am at least denying my opponent the opportunity of playing in the same spot as I'm playing. Gosh. Is this a terrible blunder? I've only got 3 minutes on my clock, so I don't have too long to find a better move. 21 points is good. I don't like keeping 3 vowels, I don't like keeping the U, and I don't like providing the floating E. Do I have to play the V? Given that it is a good tile at this stage of the game, but I am looking to score 20 points. I think that's a pretty minimum requirement to stay in the game. I'm going to take the chance that the E isn't the tile my opponent is looking for. I've left one tile in the bag. I have a fairly balanced rack, a slight preponderance of vowels. My opponent has basiform if the tile in the bag is a U through the O of Oxo. He plays Vums for 29, he takes a 9-point lead. There's no tiles in the bag. I've got just over 2 minutes and I need to go out in 2 and score well. Can I do that? I've got the S. Is there anything I can pluralise? No, there isn't. So how can I score well? This isn't easy, I don't have a good rack. I'm scanning the board looking for scoring opportunities and I'm struggling, and I am aware of just how little time I've got left. Just nothing at all is jumping out at me. I want to play over the top of Townie, but I can't put anything in front of the W. How annoying. Well, I'm sure this is hopelessly suboptimal. Right, I haven't seen a spot to play USE, I just think they're good tiles, so I ought to be able to go out using them. We're dead level on score. Sue and goers, I do have an outplay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's 11 points. Do I have a second play? I've only got 20 seconds on my clock. Yeah, I've got use parallel to edict for fewer points, so I do have 2 outs, which is good. I need to keep an eye on the clocks because I do not get an audible signal to show that my opponent has played. There is such a signal, but I have my speaker turned off. Is there anything better than Sue and goers? It would be annoying if there was a better outplay and I simply failed to spot it. But once my opponent's clock stops ticking, I don't have time to look for a better play on my own time. There's spew, but that scores less. I don't think claws takes an S in front, otherwise I could play Sue and sclaws and My opponent may be thinking about playing in row C, putting the F underneath the last E of breenged, but any play that he makes may be pluralisable, and I've got the words use and sue on my rack. So he may be in problems. I mean, he may be struggling to find a winning play. he does have a lot of time to spend looking for one. And if he does spend that time, it's good for me, because I can look for a better play on his time. There's Sue and Gods for 11 points. Which actually is the same as Sue and Goers. I thought it was going to score less, but it scores the same. So is there anything better than 11 points? This is a really, really close game. There are quite a lot of intricate, with only 3 tiles, there's quite a lot of intricate places where it may be possible to play them. I could play use parallel to pinch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 13 points, great, I found a better outplay. Use right next to the PIN of pinch. 13 points. So as soon as my opponent plays, I'm either going to play use or I'm going to play a move which scores more than 13 based and is played in or around what he has just played, because 13 is the best I can see using the board as it is. Right, nope. So let's get this down. Let's just quickly check that my opponent has not played a phony. He hasn't. I've no idea if this is winning or losing. I don't have time to check. That would, yeah, it was losing. My opponent scored well with Riff. He scored 32 points. We managed to put the F on the triple letter square that I provided to him by playing Edict, so perhaps I blundered at that point. We shall shortly find out. As we review the game. Back to the beginning. My opponent played Portend. Now what were the bingo opportunities available? I only saw Outlying. There was also Youngly and Gluttony. Youngly was clearly the highest scoring play at I9. So that would be putting the Y next to the N of Portend. Caddy for 34. Oxy's was good. I'm not sure whether playing the S off and opening up the triple word lane on row A justifies the 11 extra points. Maybe it does. I think dice was reasonable on that rack. Well, this was my skiwear rack. I didn't miss a bingo. I'm sure I considered Orc at M13. It's funny, sometimes during a game you can reject a move, but when you review it afterwards it looks more attractive, and Orc actually looks pretty good from this standpoint. Yep, Laws is up there, second on this particular list. Right, Breenged was the only bingo I saw. What else was there? Oh, loads. Breeding. Gosh, that was the obvious one to hit the triple, the double letter square. Bergen's was good. And then a whole bunch of varied spellings of Breenged and also Beringed. Okay, well, breeding was the big miss on that rack. Now I started hitting my vowel problems. AIA suggesting that's what we played. That's what I played, rather. Now I think this was the towny rack. Yeah, it's not displaying anything obviously better. Another vowel heavy rack. Rive. I really don't know if Rive was optimal at this point. And now this is the point where I played Edict and provided that wonderful scoring opportunity for my opponent. So what should I have done? Seduce at D10. Well, that would have opened up the triple word square at A15. E-juice at D11, that does the same thing. Dices at C10. Now that's a better play. But the problem with dices is that I'm keeping EIU and I'm not going to be able to go out next turn. Okay, so from this analysis there isn't an obviously better play, but there probably is one that I would need to identify by further analysis. I'm sure there was nothing brilliant with this final rack, and indeed used for 13 was the highest available. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video. I think there were plenty of interesting racks to consider. I had a significant number of racks with a preponderance of vowels, and that is one of the situations you're likely to face quite often in Scrabble, so it's quite useful to have had the opportunity to play through such racks. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name's David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.